Welcome back to Coin Reveal USA, the channel where we uncover the history, details, and real market value of American coins. Today, we are taking a close look at a 19770 Washington quarter dollar in good condition. If you have a 1977 quarter with a small d mint mark, do not spend it before checking the details, because even though most examples are common and worth only face value, higher grade examples and certain rare errors can be worth much more. So, stay with me until the end because we are going to look at the coin's history, specifications, mint mark, condition, and most importantly, its estimated value in today's market. The coin we are looking at today is the 19770 Washington quarter. The D mint mark tells us that this quarter was produced at the Denver Mint. In 1977, Denver produced approximately 256.5 million Washington quarters, making the 19770 a relatively common coin. This is also a copper nickel-clad quarter, not a 90% silver quarter. Its face value is 25 cents, and its standard weight is around 5.67 grams. The coin measures approximately 24.3 millimeters across and has the familiar reeded edge found on modern Washington quarters. On the obverse, you can see the famous portrait of George Washington facing left. The word Liberty appears above his head, while the date 1977 appears below the portrait. The inscription "In God We Trust" is positioned on either side of Washington. One of the most important things to check on this particular coin is the small d mint mark. On 19770 quarters, the mint mark is located on the obverse, just behind Washington's hair tie. That tiny letter D is what identifies this coin as a Denver Mint issue. Now, let's turn the coin over and examine the reverse. The reverse features the traditional Washington quarter design with an eagle and an olive branch, surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and quarter dollar. When examining your own 19770 quarter, look closely at the eagle, the lettering, and the overall sharpness of the design. Heavy wear, scratches, dents, stains, or cleaning can reduce collector interest, while a coin with strong details and attractive original surfaces can be more desirable. Now comes the most important question. What is a 19770 Washington quarter worth today? For a normal circulated example in good or average condition, the answer is usually not thousands of dollars. Most worn examples are worth around their 400 value. Current price guides also show that circulated 19770 quarters generally remain close to this value, while uncirculated and professionally graded examples can bring higher prices. One current guide lists the 19770 at about 25 cents in good through circulated grades, while higher grades increase substantially. For a good condition 19770 quarter like the one featured in this video, a realistic market estimate is approximately 500, depending on the exact amount of wear, eye appeal, and whether the coin has any unusual characteristics. Some price guides give slightly different numbers because coin values change according to grade, market demand, dealer pricing, and actual sales. So, if your coin is clearly circulated and has normal wear, you should not expect a huge premium over face value. But here is where the story becomes more interesting. If you find a 19770 quarter that appears completely uncirculated, with strong original luster, sharp details, and very few marks, its value can increase. For example, APMEX lists guide values around $600 for about uncirculated examples, about $700 for uncirculated examples, around $800 for Ms. 63. And higher amounts for better certified grades. Professional grading can make an enormous difference at the highest levels. The PCGS price guide shows substantially higher values for top grade 19770 examples, with the listed MS levels increasing from just a few dollars in lower mint state grades to hundreds of dollars, and potentially much more at exceptional grades. This does not mean every 19770 quarter is valuable. It means that condition becomes extremely important when a coin reaches the very highest grades. Another important point is that this 19770 quarter is not made from silver. Many people see an old quarter and automatically think it contains silver, but Washington quarters dated 1965 and later were generally made with copper-nickel clad composition rather than the 90% silver composition used for earlier Washington quarters. So, the 1977D does not have the silver value associated with pre-1965 Washington quarters. There is also another reason collectors carefully examine coins like this: errors and varieties. A normal 1977D quarter may be common, but an authentic mint error can potentially make a coin much more interesting to collectors. When checking your coin, look for unusual doubling, striking problems, off-center strikes, missing design elements, or other abnormalities. However, be careful because scratches, damage, machine doubling, stains, and post-mint damage are often mistaken for valuable mint errors. If you think you have something unusual, it is better to have the coin examined by a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service before assuming it is rare. The condition of your 1977D quarter is extremely important. A good condition coin will normally show noticeable wear on Washington's hair, cheek, and other high points of the design. The reverse will also show wear on the eagle and surrounding details. If the coin has been heavily circulated, scratched, cleaned, or damaged, its collector value is usually limited. But if the coin has never been circulated and still has strong mint luster, it could be worth considerably more. So, here is the simple value guide for the 1977D Washington quarter. A normal circulated example can be worth about 25 cents, with some circulated examples bringing a little more depending on condition. Uncirculated examples can reach around 50 cents to $1 or more. Lower mint state examples can be worth a few dollars, while high-grade certified examples can reach tens or even hundreds of dollars. Exceptional top-grade examples are a completely different category and can command much higher prices. These are estimates, not guaranteed selling prices. Because the actual value depends on the exact grade and current collector market. If your 1977D quarter is in good condition like the coin featured today, I would not consider it a rare jackpot coin based on the date and mint mark alone. Its most realistic value is close to its face value, unless it has an unusual error, exceptional condition, or another collectible characteristic. That is actually an important lesson for every coin collector. Not every old coin is automatically rare, but every coin should be checked before you spend it, before you put your 1977D quarter back into circulation. Take a few seconds to inspect it under good lighting. Check the date, confirm the D mint mark, examine the condition, and look carefully for anything unusual. Avoid cleaning the coin, because cleaning can damage the original surface and potentially reduce collector value. If you believe you have an exceptional example, professional authentication and grading may be worthwhile. And that brings us to the end of today's Coin Reveal USA coin hunt. The 1977D Washington quarter is a fascinating piece of American coinage. And while most circulated examples are worth around face value, high-grade specimens and genuine mint errors can be much more interesting to collectors. So, the next time you find an older quarter in your pocket, do not ignore it. Check the date, check the mint mark, check the condition, and always look for something unusual. Next up, the 1971D Washington quarter dollar. If you have a 1971 quarter with a small d mint mark, take a moment before spending it, because while most 1971D quarters are common and worth close to face value, coins in exceptional condition and genuine mint errors can be worth dramatically more. In this video, we will look at the history, design, specifications, condition, and most importantly, the 1971D Washington quarter value in today's market. The 1971D Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, and the small d mint mark appears on the obverse, just behind Washington's hair ribbon. The Denver Mint produced 258,634,428 examples of this quarter, so this is not considered a rare date in circulated condition. The coin has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, weighs 5.67 grams, and has a reeded edge. It is made from copper nickel clad over a copper center. meaning this 1971D quarter is not a 90% silver quarter. On the front of the coin, you can see the familiar portrait of George Washington facing left. Above his portrait is the word Liberty, while the date 1971 appears at the bottom. The famous inscription "In God We Trust" is positioned around Washington's portrait. Just behind Washington's hair, look for the tiny letter D. This mint mark is one of the first things you should check when identifying a 1971 Washington quarter. Now turn the coin over and you will see the classic Washington quarter reverse. The design features a large American eagle with its wings spread wide, holding a bundle of arrows. Around the eagle are the words "United States of America," "E pluribus unum," and "quarter dollar." This design was created by John Flanagan and became one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. When checking your own coin, examine both sides carefully for unusual details, damage, or possible mint errors. So, what is a normal 1971D Washington quarter worth today? For a circulated example in good condition, the value is generally very close to $400 value. Current NGC information places circulated 1971D quarters around $450 depending on grade, while other market guides show similar low values for ordinary circulated examples. This means that if your 1971D quarter is worn from years of circulation, its collector value is usually modest. For the good condition 1971D quarter featured in this video, a realistic estimate is around $500, depending on the exact amount of wear and the coin's overall appearance. Some examples may sell for slightly more, especially if they have attractive surfaces or unusual characteristics. However, condition is where this coin becomes much more interesting. If you find a 1971D quarter that has never circulated and still shows strong original mint luster, its value can increase significantly. NGC's current guide shows values rising through the mint state grades, with examples around Ms. 60 and above moving from roughly a few dollars into higher values as the grade increases. At the very highest grades, the value can become surprisingly large. PCGS also confirms that exceptional 1971D quarters can be extremely valuable. The PCGS auction record listed for a 1971D Washington quarter is $4,560 for an Ms. 68 example sold by Heritage Auctions in 2019. That is an extraordinary high-grade example and should not be confused with the value of a normal circulated coin. PCGS also describes Ms. 68 examples as very scarce, with fewer than a handful known at that level. There is another reason collectors pay attention to the 1971D quarter. PCGS lists a double die reverse variety, identified as 1971D FS801. If you believe your coin has unusual doubling, do not immediately assume that every doubled-looking letter or number is a valuable error. Machine doubling, scratches, dents, and normal die characteristics can sometimes look very similar. Genuine varieties need careful examination and authentication, and there are even more dramatic possibilities. Coin World records a 1971D Washington quarter struck on a 1-cent planchet that sold for $1,527.5 in a Ms. 60 for grade. This is an example of why authentic mint errors can completely change the value of an otherwise common coin. But remember, an error like this is extremely unusual and is not what you should expect to find in an ordinary 1971D quarter. One of the biggest mistakes new collectors make is seeing a high online price and assuming their coin has the same value. A normal circulated 1971D quarter is not automatically worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The biggest prices generally belong to coins with exceptional grades, certified varieties, or major mint errors. The exact grade, authenticity, appeal, and buyer demand all matter when determining the real selling price. You should also remember that the 1971D quarter is a copper nickel-clad coin, not a silver quarter. Its composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel over a pure copper center. So if you find a 1971D quarter, you should not value it as a silver Washington quarter. The silver Washington quarters ended before the clad composition used for this coin. Now, let's create a simple value guide. A heavily circulated or good condition 1971D quarter can generally be worth around face value to less than $1. Better circulated examples may bring somewhat more. Mint state coins can move into several dollars, and higher grades can reach tens or even hundreds of dollars. Exceptional certified examples can be worth much more, with the finest known examples reaching into the thousands. Based on auction records, if your coin is in good condition, look carefully at Washington's hair, cheek, jaw, and the lettering. On the reverse, inspect the eagle and the surrounding details. Heavy wear is normal on circulated examples, but strong detail and original surfaces are more desirable. Also, look around the edge for unusual metal problems and examine the date and mint mark under good lighting. Most importantly, never clean your coin just because it looks dirty. Cleaning can leave scratches and unnatural surfaces that may reduce collector appeal. If you think you have a rare error or an extremely high-grade 1971D quarter, consider getting it examined by a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service. So, what is the final answer for the 1971D Washington quarter? If you have an ordinary circulated coin in good condition, expect a value close to face value, generally around 25 cents to 75 cents, depending on its exact condition and the current market. But if your coin is exceptionally well preserved, contains a recognized variety, or has a genuine major mint error, the value can be dramatically higher. That is what makes coin collecting so exciting. One small detail can sometimes separate an ordinary quarter from a truly collectible piece. Next up, the 1987p Washington quarter dollar. If you have a 1987 quarter with the small p mint mark, don't spend it before checking it carefully. Most 1987p quarters are common and worth close to face value, but coins in exceptional condition or with genuine mint errors can be much more valuable. In this video, we will examine the coin's history, design, mint mark, condition, and most importantly, its possible value in today's market. The 1987p Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is identified by the small p mint mark on the obverse of the coin. Philadelphia produced more than 582 million Washington quarters in 1987, so this is not considered a rare date in normal circulated condition. The coin is a copper nickel-clad quarter with a face value of 25 cents. It weighs approximately 5.67 grams, measures about 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. On the obverse, you can see the famous portrait of George Washington facing left. The word Liberty appears above his head, while the date 1987 is located below the portrait. The inscription "In God We Trust" appears around Washington. The small p mint mark is located near Washington's neck area, just behind his hair ribbon. This tiny letter is important because it tells us that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Now turn the coin over and you will see the classic Washington quarter reverse. The design features a large American eagle with its wings spread wide, holding a bundle of arrows. Around the eagle are the inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and quarter dollar. When examining your coin, look closely at both sides for unusual doubling, missing details, off-center strikes, cracks, or other characteristics that could indicate a mint error. So, what is a normal 1987p Washington quarter worth today? For a circulated example in good condition, the answer is usually very simple, around its $300 value. Most circulated 1987p quarters are common, and their condition is not high enough to create a major collector premium. Some better circulated examples may sell for slightly more, depending on their appearance and the buyer, but you should a normal worn 1987p quarter to be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. The situation changes when we move into uncirculated condition. A 1987p quarter with strong original luster, sharp details, and very few marks can be worth more than face value. As the grade increases, collector interest can increase as well. High-grade certified examples can bring significantly more than ordinary pocket change examples, especially when the coin has exceptional surfaces and eye appeal. This is why you should pay close attention to the condition of your 1987p quarter. Look at Washington's cheek, jaw, hair, and the lettering. These areas can show contact marks and wear. On the reverse, examine the eagle and the surrounding lettering. If the coin still has strong mint luster and almost no signs of circulation, it may deserve a closer look. Another important area is mint errors. A common 1987p quarter can become much more interesting if it has a genuine major mint error. Possible errors can include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, striking through errors, die cracks, and certain forms of doubling. But be careful. Damage that happens after a coin leaves the mint can sometimes look like an error. Scratches, dents, chemical damage, and machine doubling are often mistaken for valuable varieties. One of the most important rules in coin collecting is never to assume that a strange-looking mark automatically means the coin is rare. If you see something unusual on your 1987p quarter, compare it with authenticated examples and consider having the coin examined by a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service. Another common question is whether the 1987p Washington quarter contains silver. The answer is no. This quarter was produced using copper nickel-clad composition, not the 90% silver composition used for older Washington quarters. Therefore, you should not add a silver premium simply because the coin is from 1987. Let's look at a simple value range. A normal circulated 1987p Washington quarter in good condition is generally worth about 25 cents, which is its face value. A nicer circulated example might bring slightly more, depending on demand and condition. Uncirculated examples can be worth more, and high-grade certified specimens can command significantly higher prices. Coins with authentic major mint errors or recognized varieties can potentially be worth much more than normal examples. If your 1987p quarter is in good condition, don't be disappointed if it isn't worth a fortune. The real excitement comes from finding unusual examples. Even a common coin can become interesting when you discover an important error or an exceptional grade. That's why collectors examine their coins carefully, rather than judging them only by the year. Before you put your 1987p quarter back into circulation, take a few seconds to inspect it under bright light. Confirm the 1987 date, look for the P mint mark, check the condition, and inspect both sides for anything unusual. Do not clean the coin. Cleaning can create scratches and unnatural surfaces and may reduce its collector appeal. So, what is the final answer? A normal 1987p Washington quarter in good circulated condition is generally worth around 25 cents today. Better uncirculated examples can be worth more, while exceptional high-grade coins and genuine mint errors can potentially reach much higher values. The key is the condition and whether your coin has something unusual that separates it from the millions of ordinary 1987p quarters. Next up, the 1993p Washington quarter dollar. If you have a 1993 quarter with the P mint mark, don't spend it too quickly. Most 1993p quarters are common and worth around face value. But coins in exceptional condition or with genuine mint errors can be worth considerably more. In this video, we'll examine the history, design, mint mark, condition, and realistic market value of the 1993p Washington quarter. The 1993p Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The small p mint mark on the obverse identifies Philadelphia as the place where this quarter was produced. Millions of these quarters entered circulation, so an ordinary circulated 1993p quarter is not considered a rare coin. Like other modern Washington quarters of this period, it is a copper nickel-clad coin with a face value of 25 cents. It weighs approximately 5.67 grams, measures about 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. Let's start with the obverse. The front of the coin features the famous portrait of George Washington facing left. Above his portrait is Liberty, while the date 1993 appears below. The words "In God We Trust" are positioned around Washington. Near the lower portion of Washington's neck, you can find the small p mint mark. This tiny letter is important because it confirms that your 1993 quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, turn the coin over. The reverse features the familiar American eagle with its wings spread wide and a bundle of arrows in its talons. Around the eagle are the words United States of America, e pluribus unum, and quarter dollar. When examining your coin, look carefully at the rim and edge for anything that looks unusual. So, what is a 1993p Washington quarter worth today? For a normal circulated example in good condition, the answer is usually around its $500. Most examples that have spent years in circulation show normal wear, scratches, contact marks, and loss of original mint luster. These coins are generally easy to find, so ordinary circulated examples usually have little premium above face value. However, condition can make a major difference. If your 1993p quarter has never circulated and still has strong original mint luster, sharp details, and very few contact marks, it can be worth more than a worn example. As the coin moves into higher uncirculated grades, collector interest and value can increase. The highest quality examples are normally the ones that attract the most attention from collectors and grading services. Take a close look at Washington's cheek, jaw, hair, and neck. These areas can show marks from contact with other coins during production and transportation. On the reverse, inspect the eagle and the lettering. A coin with clean surfaces, strong details, and attractive original luster is more desirable than a heavily scratched or damaged example. Now, let's talk about errors. This is where a common 1993p quarter can potentially become much more interesting. Collectors look for genuine mint errors such as major off-center strikes, clipped planchets, striking through errors, die cracks, and certain forms of double dies. But you have to be careful, because many things that look like errors are actually caused by damage after the coin left the mint. For example, scratches, dents, flattened rims, discoloration, and machine doubling can sometimes be mistaken for valuable mint errors. If you discover something unusual on your 1993p quarter, don't immediately assume that it is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Compare it with authenticated examples and, if necessary, have it examined by a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service. Another important question is whether the 1993p Washington quarter is made of silver. The answer is no. Regular circulation. Washington quarters from 1993 were made using copper-nickel-clad composition rather than the 90% silver composition used for Washington quarters dated before 1965. So, a normal 1993p quarter does not have additional silver value. Let's make the value guide simple. If your 1993p Washington quarter is worn and circulated, its realistic value is generally around 25 cents. A nicer circulated example may bring slightly more in certain circumstances, while uncirculated examples can be worth more depending on grade. High-grade certified examples can bring significantly higher prices, and genuine major mint errors can potentially be worth much more than a normal coin. But remember one important rule: condition matters. Two coins with exactly the same year and mint mark can have completely different values. One may have heavy circulation and be worth face value, while another, with exceptional preservation, could be worth many times more. That's why professional grading can be important for coins that appear to be in unusually high condition. If you have a 1993p quarter at home, take it out and inspect it under good lighting. Check the date, locate the P mint mark, examine Washington's portrait, and then inspect the reverse. Look for strong details, original luster, usual doubling, off-center striking, or other abnormalities. Also check the edge for anything unusual, and please don't clean the coin. This is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. Even if the coin looks dirty or dull, cleaning can leave scratches and unnatural surfaces that may reduce its collector appeal. If you think your coin is special, preserving its original surface is much better than trying to make it look shiny. So, what is the final answer for the 1993p Washington quarter? A normal circulated example in good condition is generally worth about $500 today. Better uncirculated examples can be worth more, while exceptional high-grade coins and authentic mint errors can potentially command much higher prices. The 1993P date and mint mark alone do not make the coin rare, but the right condition or an unusual mint-made error can completely change the story. If you enjoyed this 1993P Washington Quarter Value Guide, make sure to subscribe to Coin Reveal USA for more American coin values, rare Washington quarters, Lincoln pennies, Jefferson nickels, and other fascinating coins. Keep checking your pocket change and old collections, because you never know what unusual coin might be waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching Coin Reveal USA, and I'll see you in the next Coin Reveal.